What's going on, everybody? Eric with Deutsche Auto Garage here today with our 2025 Volkswagen Taos. It came with floor mats from the factory that we purchased. Not the most exciting floor mats, so we had a brand reach out to us. I present LASFIT. So like LASFIT, it's a company out of California. I'm sure they're supplying their stuff from overseas. From my research, they approached me and asked me if I wanted to do a tutorial video or review video on their products. There is no financial compensation here. They didn't pay me a single dollar. However, they did send me the floor mats for free. But that's so I can record it and show you the differences between the two and see if you even want to purchase these. So there is no pressure, full disclosure, free mats that were sent to me, the floor mats in, and we are giving our honest opinion, but I do want you to be aware. So with that being said, we're gonna do our Let's Wash, and it's gonna be a 2025 Taos included with the LASFIT liner. Let's go ahead and get started. That's the floor mat from the factory right there. It doesn't go up over the hump. It doesn't go towards the vents, anything. It just captures directly where your feet are at. So she has a lot of softball players that ride with her. She's very sports oriented. Again, just, you know, it's there. It's better than a fabric mat for what she does, but I'm not impressed. So this is the car overall. Let's step back here. Again, super windy, so sorry if the vocals are terrible. We're just gonna do a walk around real quick. So, yeah, wind, crazy today. The car is in pretty good shape. I mean, it's basically brand new. It was brand new when we bought it, but we're just gonna do a complete cleanup on it. So, even the engine bay looking decent, but we're just gonna give it a quick wipe down and clean it up if I don't get blown away by the wind today. So again, this is the passenger side. Just really disappointing from a factory standpoint. Like Volkswagen, this is the best that you could do. You know, not too thrilled. So let's go take a look at the new mats that we just got and see how much different they are. Normally I would be wearing gloves, but considering I have not started washing the car yet, we're just gonna go ahead and open. So no gloves today. It's gonna be easy opening the top because there's rubber mats and I don't want to cut them. I'm sure they get it blocked, but just in case. All right. Go ahead and take a whole package out here. It looks like it comes out in one chunk. Maybe not. All right. That one first. All right. I mean, just automatically way better. I am already impressed out the gate. So a little bit of scuffing just from the factory. Not really a huge concern for me. I'd be a little more concerned if I didn't have products that would make all that look nice and clean, but I'm gonna clean these regardless, and I'm still gonna condition them. So I'm not too worried about little scuffs. And then the passenger side, again, looks much better. Tiny little scuff there, little scuff. I mean, it's just production. It is a rubber mat, right? So it is not going to be in perfect condition when you pull it out of the box. Do not expect perfection. It's just part of the process of creating these things. So for me, already super impressed. And let's see the back, because this was the part that I can't stand the most personally. And these, I'm just gonna put this down and I'm actually gonna back up for just a second and show you. Oh, it came with a cargo liner too, looks like. So again, see how it comes all the way up here on the sides. It's not just this, which is what the factory is. See, my nail just did that. But you see it wipes off, so no big deal. So again, do not expect perfection on these when you pull them out of the packaging. They're rubber mats, they've been processed and created. There's going to be small little scuffs and stuff, but your conditioner will take care of that really quick. However, this up here, I love. So not only does it come up the edges that actually contain stuff, which was one of the pain points that I was discussing, it goes over the hump. it goes over the hump, which is super important for me because I don't like the fact that that centerpiece is completely exposed, and I don't like the fact that stuff can just run off those rubber mats onto the floor. So let's go ahead and take out the cargo liner. So the rear cargo is another pain point because they give you this fabric back end on there, and I'll show you that in just a second. But the fabric back end, it's great for the little cargo blocks, but it's fuzzy. And as you use the cargo blocks, they start to tear up and such like that. So this is rubber. This you're not gonna be worried about throwing your softball bag or your football bags, your wrestling bags, or your car mechanic bag, whatever, onto this. Way less issue. So I will say, it comes folded. How do you solve that? Let it sit. So the way that we solve this to get it to lay flat, we literally take it, and because it's sunny today, the wind, just lay it down and put something heavy on it because it's 30-mile-an-hour wind right now, I guess. But anyway, you lay it down and the sun will heat it and make it lay flat. All right, so here's the solution for unbending the rear cargo mat whenever it comes to you from shipping. So put it out in the sun, put a bunch of stuff on top of it to let it just kind of soak up the heat and lay flat. So once it gets hot enough, it will start to form back to that type of way it sits. So if it's folded and it gets hot, it will stay folded. If you unfold it and let it get hot, it will stay unfolded. I hope that makes sense. It's pretty common sense, but not for everybody, I guess. Anyway, this is the solution. All right, before Hurricane Delaware takes over outside, this is what I mean. You see how this one, right here, it could actually fit inside of this, right? And that lets you know how much the factory just kind of missed out on this. I think this is a much better design coming up the side and then coming up the top as well.
So just a little bonus tip here, the factory cargo cover, that's the carpet one, actually fits perfectly on top of the LASFIT rubber mats. So you can actually put it on top if you want to keep your little cargo organizer bumpers, I forget what they call it, the rail system or something like that, the little plastic pieces there to the left. So you can still use those. But if you go to say, like, let's say a gardening store or something, you can actually lift that carpet, put it in your back seat, and now you've got a rubber spot to put your dirty stuff on.
These things are awesome, by the way. LASFIT for the win.
At this point, we're going to wash and prep the vehicle. We need to make sure all the surfaces are nice and clean. You're going to see me using Armour Detail Supply wheel cleaner and an IK foamer. So probably not the recommended thing, but I love the way that it sprays out, and then I can use my brush to kind of spread it out. It's a preference. We're going to use Armour Detail Supply Decon Soap to give the surface a nice reset before we go through and clay bar it. When you're done washing it, do not try to dry your car out in direct sunlight if possible. Back that sucker right up into the garage if you can and start drying it off in there. The quicker you can get it out of the UVs, the faster you can actually dry it without water spots appearing.
All right, so this panel looks pretty clean right now, right? This is a relatively new car, less than 6 months old on it at this point. This is the rag after we started from the driver's side. So I'm gonna do the passenger side on film so you can actually see. So I'm going to douse this first. Normally you would spray directly on your pad, but in this particular case, I'm going to spray directly. All right, so we're going to just kind of layer it on here right now. Again, normally we wouldn't do this, but since it's brand new and it has no protection on it, that's what we're gonna do. And it will dry, that's the other thing. It will not stay wet looking like some of the annoying glossy stuff. I like a little bit of gloss, but it can get overwhelming sometimes. I like how it stays wet for just a second though, so you know where you've covered. Flip it upside down for this right here. And I'll go back with my brushes before I'm finished inside the cup holders and stuff. This is just the first pass. I like to call it a quick pass. So now you can tell, like for me, that already looks a whole lot better. Again, it looked clean to start with. It's not like it wasn't looking clean, but yeah, that's pretty dirty, I would say. So anyway, Armour Detail Supply, palette interior detailer. Spray it on your rag, a little bit on the surface, work it in with your brushes, with
You'll notice that the top right corner is not done yet. It will get done in just a moment, but the reason being is I tend to wait last on that, so I'm not smearing product on the glass while trying to move it around. So I generally tend to do up there last, and if I can, I try to roll the window down before I even touch where the arms would normally be.
Like if you look in this cup holder right now, you can see there is a light gray, and that's because that has not been cleaned or conditioned. So this to me is like optimal right here. So it's still drying. If you're into like super heavy duty gloss, I don't necessarily want that much gloss. I don't mind a little bit, but I don't want a ton. I'll flip around right there, like that. Now I'm just gonna take the other side and just gently wipe. Get some of that up. Not all of it. And touch up the other spots you see I may have missed. Forgive me. Back. Make sure you don't have any high spots. We can flip the rag back around for just a second to correct. Again, the dashboard, or below the dash. I've already done up here on the dash earlier, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do down here. So I'm actually gonna use my rag as kind of my spray shield, and then wipe it in. The reason we use it as a spray shield is we have brand new rubber mats down there, and I don't wanna start mixing things right now. Cleans it up nice and just a little bit of a wet look to start with. And I will say that I think that whenever plastic is conditioned, especially on vehicles that now use a ton of plastic, it makes the plastic a little bit softer. That may be in my head, I don't know. But when it's softer like that, I feel like you end up with less defects. So I'm gonna take this and just kind of go back and forth gently, especially right there.
At this point, we're just going through the rest of the interior to go ahead and finish it up to move to the exterior.
All right, so I'm gonna show you my best shot at the interior walkthrough now. Because the car looks pretty clean to most people, right? So your door panels look all clean, your dash looks clean, everything looks nice and clean. Even the floor mats that were brand new are now scuff-free and conditioned. So for most people, the car looks pretty good. Let's see what happens when Eric does an inspection though. We're gonna break out our big boy here. Make sure I'm on the right mode. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we're gonna follow my light here. So, not 6 months old. Look at the glass. See all the water spots? This glass has been cleaned, right? So I've already sprayed and cleaned and wiped it down. That is it done. All right, the other thing I noticed, if you look right there, catch it, the light. I can't tell if that is run at the factory or if something etched into it. It kind of looks like there's a whole splotch back here. So if you catch it, you can see it as I move the light, right? Again, glass, just not in the best of shape. And again, this car is new. This was not a used car. This was a brand new vehicle. And you could just see the stuff. From a standpoint of how much cut we need to do, not very much, honestly. And again, more residue right there, a run line right there. Like, I don't understand. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna take our light clay bar and we're gonna lightly clay. We're gonna make sure we keep it super lubricated because I do not wanna cut this car. The paint looks really good, and generally speaking, whenever you get done clay barring, you're supposed to cut and polish. In this particular case, the clay barring, since I'm using a very light clay, should make it to where I only have to do polish, because polish can remove very light, very, very light swirls and such. Cutting is where you remove heavy scratches and such. So anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started.
You're going to see me use Armour Detail Supply panel prep and a rubber wheel to get these wheels actually clean and ready for the wheel ceramic. It is imperative that you get these surfaces clean before you apply any kind of ceramic, or else it will not bond properly. You're going to see me going back and forth in a box style format and then in a circular format just to kind of make sure I don't miss any spots. A little will go a long way whenever it comes to glass ceramic, and Armour Detail Supply's glass ceramic is great because you really don't have to rush to remove it. You can just apply and then level off after you're kind of finished with it all. So for me, this is one of the easiest steps and one of the easiest ceramics I could recommend to start off on. Like, you'll really get used to how it applies, how quick it starts to kind of sweat and all that good stuff, even though it won't sweat like a true body ceramic would. But anyway, the idea is that you're going to go around and apply it to all surfaces on your glass, then you go off and level afterwards. You give it just a little bit of time to cure, and you can continue to stack glass ceramic on top of it. So you could go around to the rest of the car and say, if you wanted 3 layers on the windshield or so forth, you can do that. And there's instructions that they provide on their website to kind of explain how to do that past what I'm telling you now.
Shake up your bottle pretty well, right? And to prime the pad, priming meaning we're just gonna get the pad kind of saturated here. Just gonna lay down thick bead like that. And again, fold over, just let it touch. All right, and so I'm just gonna do a box here about this big. And because it's really hard to see on a white car, I have to work around the lights really well. Basically what we're waiting on is to see, you can see these lights right now. You can see the micro sweat. So we don't want to see it beat up too heavy. We want to see it start to sweat and then we remove. If you remove too early, it will be sticky. Close your bottle back between this. We're just gonna let it sit there for a second. Wait for it to start sweating. Depending on the temperature and the humidity and all that will determine. I like watching paint dry, I guess. So this is like the perfect angle here. Hopefully you can see that. As it starts to bubble up, you see how it's coming up to the surface already? So anything that's not being bonded to will come up, just like the glass. This will be a little harder to come up though. So this is why you have to be very specific about what you're doing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove now this and just level off. Yeah, it kind of grabs a little bit, that's okay. Flip your microfiber there. Make sure you get it all and you level it off because you don't want to leave anything behind. And that's it. So now as you look at that light, nice and smooth surface. Eric with Deutsche Garage. I'll see you all in the next one.